In the shadowed heart of the Russian Perm region lies a place so saturated with the impossible that Spanish investigator and author José Antonio Caravaca once called it perhaps the strangest region on Earth. This land is home to a confluence of phenomena that defy logic and comprehension: paranormal encounters, mysterious healings, photographs that seem to bend the rules of physics, UFO sightings, and cryptic, otherworldly beings. In this place, reality feels warped, distorted, as if something beyond human understanding is pressing in from the edges. It's here, amid the vast forests and quiet hills, that the boundaries between the ordinary and the extraordinary dissolve into a mystery as deep as time itself. Caravaca describes this zone as one of the most astonishing, unsettling, and obscure places still left in our world, a point on the map where the rules are different and the veil between worlds grows thin. The epicenter of these strange happenings is a small and unassuming village called Molebka, almost forgotten by time. With a population barely exceeding 465, Molebka is nestled in the Ural Mountains about 1,000 kilometers east of Moscow, near the cultural and geographical divide between Europe and Asia. The land here is rich in history, soaked in ancient myths and rituals practiced by generations long past. It was not until 1984, however, that Molebka came into the modern spotlight for its strangeness. On October 29th of that year, an enormous and perfect circle, 60 meters in diameter, was discovered pressed into the snow. Locals insisted it was caused by something landing silently in the night, leaving behind no heat, no noise, only a chilling geometric scar. One of the first to investigate was Emil Bashurin, a curious and determined researcher. His early exploration marked the beginning of what would become a legend. But the name that gave the area its modern identity came a few years later. In 1989, journalist Pavel Mukurtov dubbed the area the Molebka Triangle, echoing the notorious Bermuda Triangle. That term, born during one of his expeditions, took on a life of its own. It resonated with seekers of the strange and unexplained, drawing adventurers, researchers, and UFO enthusiasts to this isolated part of Russia in search of answers. Among the interested was Jacques Vallée, one of the most respected and rational voices in the field of UFO studies, who took serious note of what was occurring in this corner of the world. Investigations that followed would confirm that Molebka's strangeness was not isolated to a single event. What researchers uncovered was a deep reservoir of mystery, an interweaving of folklore, anomalies, and unexplained energies. Local legends spoke of shamans and magical rites, rituals meant to contact higher beings or appease forgotten gods. The people of the region passed these stories down by word of mouth, generation after generation. Healers from Molebka became known for their inexplicable ability to cure ailments, performing treatments that defied medical logic. In the forests, a thick unease would settle, as if the very air were holding its breath. People reported being watched, followed by an unseen presence. Some described pockets of silence so dense it felt like sound itself had been crushed, replaced by a pressure that blanketed everything. Animals were especially sensitive, reacting erratically to unseen forces. Some locals, even today, refused to enter certain stretches of forest after sunset. Those who do often return changed, quiet, distant, unwilling to talk about what they experienced. Scientists began conducting field studies and found strange electromagnetic distortions. Instruments would malfunction or produce inexplicable readings. Mobile phones and compasses failed. Radiation levels fluctuated without clear environmental causes. Some parts of Molebka became known for completely disrupting timepieces. And within this field of anomalies is what many now call ZoneM. The story of Vladimir S. is among the most extraordinary to emerge from ZoneM. In the mid-1970s, Vladimir was just 18 when he suffered a severe spinal injury in a workplace accident. The injury left him using crutches, sometimes a wheelchair. Doctors offered little hope of full recovery. His mother, also a physician, refused to accept this fate. She consulted colleagues, and two of them, one Russian, the other Japanese, mentioned a distant region in the Urals known for spontaneous recoveries and strange energies. Molebka, they said, might hold something beyond science. And so the journey began. Vladimir and his mother traveled to a narrow peninsula along the Chusovaya River. The area was peaceful and silent, eerily so. Vladimir recalled the absence of birds, of insects, of any natural sound. It felt abandoned by life. They stayed for several days, hoping for healing. Then, in the early hours before dawn, Vladimir stepped outside. Just meters from the riverbank, he saw it, an oval-shaped object rising silently from the surface of the water. It emitted a soft, yellowish glow. The object was translucent, hovering in total silence. Within it stood a tall humanoid being with long hair, arms straight down. As Vladimir stared, a green beam of light shot from the craft and struck him directly between the eyes. He compared it to a camera flash that blinded him momentarily. When his vision returned, the object was gone. In the days that followed, something remarkable happened. The pain began to fade. His strength returned. Slowly, Vladimir regained the ability to walk. Within a short time, he no longer needed crutches. No surgeries. No medications. Just an inexplicable, accelerating recovery. He didn't speak of the event for years. He wouldn't tell the story publicly until a chance meeting with José Antonio Caravaca in Spain decades later. Caravaca documented the encounter in his research and included it in his book Distortion, which explores how unknown phenomena may be shaped by perception and environment in ways we cannot yet grasp. Vladimir would return to Molebka 12 years later as part of a scientific expedition organized by the Eerie Research Center. This time, he came as a physician to support a multidisciplinary team investigating the area's anomalies. They recorded elevated radiation, magnetic fields that caused compass needles to spin, and electronic devices that failed for no discernible reason. On one evening, a glowing reddish sphere appeared, floating through the forest beside them before vanishing. Another night, footsteps were heard outside tents. Figures were seen, only their faces and their glowing eyes. By morning, tents were found damaged, torn by something unknown. No member of the team had left their shelter that night. The accounts continued to accumulate, each more unnerving than the last. There were sightings of humanoids, tall, silent, otherworldly. A man in 1987 saw one such figure holding a strange container before it vanished without a trace, leaving only massive footprints behind. Valery Yakimov, a leading researcher of the area, described seeing a 3-meter-tall black humanoid one night, standing perfectly still in the moonlight. These stories became the living folklore of the region, not tall tales, but accounts from serious people who had nothing to gain by lying. Caravaca expanded his inquiry to the deeper historical context. According to local historian S.A. Believe, people have inhabited the Silva Valley for over 2,000 years. Ritual sites and sacrificial grounds dot the area. The very name Molebka comes from Molebno, meaning place of invocation, suggesting its spiritual significance predates Russia itself. In the 1990s, a new mystery emerged, the Dashka Stone. Discovered near the village of Chandar and later excavated, it was a massive 1-ton tablet carved with incredible precision. Some claimed it was a 3-dimensional topographical map. Scans showed it had been artificially constructed, with features far beyond the known capabilities of ancient civilizations. Was it the work of a forgotten culture, or were we simply seeing what we wanted to see? Skepticism, of course, persists. Not all scientists accept the validity of the Dashka Stone or the interpretations surrounding ZoneM. Some call it pareidolia, a human tendency to find patterns and meaning in noise. But despite this, the evidence continues to grow: electromagnetic anomalies, consistent eyewitness reports, inexplicable healings, and a historical thread that runs deep beneath the surface. ZoneM remains an open mystery. It exists on maps and in the memories of those who have experienced it. The phenomena refuse to fit into easy categories, defying conventional explanation. Yet something is clearly happening in this hidden corner of the world. Whether it is a place of hidden science, forgotten civilizations, or some uncharted force of nature, one thing is certain: ZoneM is watching, and it is waiting. And perhaps, in time, we will finally understand what lies behind its silent forests, glowing eyes, and healing light. Until then, the story continues. Stay curious.